best revenge isn't anger. It's becoming everything they said you couldn't be.
They made you feel worthless, not by accident, not by mistake. They did it deliberately. They saw your light and they couldn't stand it. They saw your potential and it threatened them. They saw who you could become and they needed to stop it. So they broke you down, piece by piece. They told you that you weren't good enough, that you'd never amount to anything, that you should be grateful for the scraps they threw you. They made you doubt yourself, question your worth, believe their lies about who you are. And it worked. You started to believe them, started to see yourself through their eyes, started to think maybe they were right. Maybe you are worthless. Maybe you don't deserve better. Maybe this is all you'll ever be. And that's exactly what they wanted. Because small people need others to be small too. Weak people need others to feel weak. Miserable people need company in their misery. So they projected their worthlessness onto you. They made you carry their shame. They convinced you that their failure was your identity. And you believed it because you trusted them, because you thought they cared about you, because you didn't know any better. But now you do. Now you see it for what it was: manipulation, projection, cruelty disguised as concern. They didn't break you because you were weak. They broke you because you were strong, and they couldn't handle it. And that changes everything, the damage they left behind. Let's talk about what they did to you. They didn't just hurt you, they rewired you. They made you believe that wanting more is selfish, that standing up for yourself is wrong, that your needs don't matter. They taught you to shrink, to apologize for existing, to accept less than you deserve. They killed your confidence, your self-worth, your ability to trust yourself. And then they walked away like they didn't destroy a human being, like they didn't leave you with wounds that still bleed years later, like they didn't create trauma that follows you into every relationship and every opportunity. You carry their voice in your head now, their criticism, their doubt, their poison. And it speaks louder than your own voice, louder than logic, louder than truth. It tells you that you're not smart enough, not attractive enough, not worthy enough. It tells you to play small, stay quiet, don't try, because you'll just fail anyway. And you listen to it because they programmed you to. They spent months or years conditioning you to believe their lies, breaking down your defenses, making you dependent on their validation. And when they finally left, they left that programming behind. So even though they're gone, they're still controlling you, still limiting you, still making you feel worthless. That's the real damage. Not what they did, but what they left behind. The version of you that believes you don't deserve happiness. The part of you that sabotages good things. The voice that tells you this is all you're worth. That's what they created. And that's what's been running your life ever since. But here's what you need to understand. That voice isn't you. That programming isn't your truth. That damage isn't permanent. It feels permanent because you've been living with it for so long. But it's not. And I'm about to show you how to destroy it. Why revenge fantasies don't work. I know what you think about late at night. You imagine them realizing what they lost. You picture them coming back begging for forgiveness. You fantasize about the day they finally see your worth. You imagine telling them off, making them hurt the way they hurt you, showing them exactly what they destroyed, And in those fantasies, they always break down. They always apologize. They always regret it. But here's the problem with revenge fantasies. They're still about them. You're still giving them power, still making them the center of your story, still waiting for them to validate that they were wrong. And that keeps you stuck. Because the truth is, they probably won't ever realize what they did. They won't have some grand awakening. They won't come crawling back with tears in their eyes. They'll move on with their lives completely unbothered, while you're still carrying the weight of what they did. And that's infuriating. It's unfair. It's wrong. But it's also reality. Waiting for them to feel guilty is like waiting for a snake to apologize for biting you. It's not going to happen. Not because you don't deserve the apology, but because they're not capable of giving it. People who make others feel worthless don't have the self-awareness to recognize what they've done. They don't have the empathy to care. They don't have the character to admit fault. So they won't. And if you keep waiting for it, you'll waste your entire life stuck in the past, replaying what they did and hoping for an ending that will never come. That's not revenge. That's prison. Real revenge isn't making them sorry. It's making them irrelevant. It's not proving to them that you're worthy. It's proving to yourself that their opinion never mattered. It's not waiting for them to see your value. It's building a life so good that you forget they exist. That's the revenge that actually works. And that's what we're about to build. The shift that changes everything. Here's the moment everything changes. When you stop trying to prove them wrong and start living like they never mattered. When you stop measuring your worth by their standards and start defining it yourself. When you stop asking for their validation and start validating yourself. That's the shift. It's not dramatic. It's not a single moment. It's a decision you make every day. The decision to stop living in reaction to what they did and start living in response to who you are. Because right now, you're still letting them control you. Still letting their words dictate your choices. Still letting their damage define your limits. Every time you don't go for that opportunity because you don't think you're good enough, that's them winning. Every time you stay in a situation that hurts you because you think it's all you deserve, that's them winning. Every time you silence your own voice because you're afraid of being too much, that's them winning. You're letting dead relationships run your life. You're letting people who don't even think about you anymore control your future. And that ends now. Not because you're going to confront them, not because you're going to make them see what they did, but because you're going to stop giving them power over your life. You're going to take back your worth, your voice, your future. And you're going to build something so incredible that what they did to you becomes irrelevant. That's how you make them regret it. Not by showing them what they lost, but by becoming someone they could never break again. Not by making them apologize, but by making their opinion worthless. Not by getting revenge, but by getting free. And freedom is the greatest revenge of all. Step 1. Remove their voice from your head. The first step is the hardest. You have to remove their voice from your head. That voice that tells you you're not good enough. That criticizes everything you do. That predicts failure before you even try. That's their voice, not yours, and it's been running the show for too long. Every time you hear it, you need to recognize it for what it is. Not truth. Not wisdom, not protection, poison. It's the poison they planted in your mind to keep you small. And every time you listen to it, you're doing their work for them. So stop. When that voice says you can't, you say, watch me. When it says you're not worthy, you say, I decide my worth, not you. When it says you'll fail, you say, then I'll fail. trying, which is better than succeeding at staying small. You have to actively fight that voice, challenge it, disprove it, because it's been telling you lies for so long that you think they're facts. But they're not facts. They're opinions. And they're wrong. You are good enough. You are worthy. You are capable of more than they ever let you believe. And the only way to prove that is to stop listening to their voice and start trusting your own. This takes practice. It takes time. It takes conscious effort every single day. Because that voice is a habit. It's comfortable. It's familiar. And breaking habits is hard. But you have to do it. Because as long as their voice is louder than yours, you'll never be free. You'll never take risks, never try new things, never become who you're meant to be. You'll stay stuck in the box they built for you. And that's exactly what they want. So the first act of revenge is simple. Stop being who they told you to be. Start being who you decide to be. Stop letting their programming run your life. Start writing your own code. That's how you take back power. That's how you start winning. Step 2. Build yourself in secret. Here's what most people get wrong about revenge. They announce it. They tell everyone about their transformation. They post about their progress. And that's a mistake. Because announcing your change invites judgment. It invites doubt. It invites people to talk you out of it. And you're not strong enough yet to handle that. Right now you're in the rebuilding phase. You're fragile. You're figuring things out. And the people who made you feel worthless will see that as an opportunity to break you down again. They'll mock your efforts, question your goals, remind you of your failures. They'll do everything they can to pull you back to where you were. Because your growth threatens their narrative. So you don't tell them. You build yourself in secret, in silence, in the shadows. You take the course they'd mock. You start the business they'd laugh at. You chase the dream they'd call unrealistic. And you do it quietly, without announcement, without approval, because you don't need their permission. You don't need their support. You don't need them to believe in you. You just need you. And while they're busy living their small lives, you're busy building something they can't even imagine. This is the power move. This is the revenge they'll never see coming. Because they think they broke you. They think you accepted your place. They think you're still the person they convinced you to be. And then one day they'll see you. Not because you showed them, but because you became so undeniable they couldn't miss it. And in that moment they'll realize they were wrong, that you were never worthless, that they underestimated you. But by then it won't matter, because you won't need their validation anymore. You won't care what they think. You'll be too busy living a life they could never touch. That's the goal. That's the vision. Build yourself so well in private that your public success becomes inevitable. Step 3. Become what they said you couldn't. They told you what you couldn't be. Too dumb for that career. Too ugly for that relationship. Too broken for that dream. They set limits on your potential, drew boundaries around your future, convinced you that certain things just weren't for people like you, and you believed them. But now you're going to prove them wrong. Not for them, for you. You're going to become exactly what they said was impossible. They said you'd never succeed. So you're going to build success. They can't ignore. They said you'd never be happy, so you're going to create joy. They can't diminish. They said you'd never be worthy, so you're going to embody worth. They can't deny. This isn't about rubbing it in their face. It's about reclaiming your potential. It's about taking back every dream they killed, every goal they mocked, every version of yourself they convinced you to abandon. And it's about proving to yourself that their opinion was never the ceiling, it was just noise. Because here's what they didn't want you to know. The things they said you couldn't do, those are the exact things you're capable of. They wouldn't have worked so hard to convince you otherwise if you weren't a threat. Think about it. They didn't tell you that you couldn't do things you had no interest in. They targeted your dreams, your passions, your strengths, because those are what threatened them. Those are what could have made you powerful. And powerful people don't need the approval of small minds, so they had to stop you, had to plant doubt, had to make you believe the lie. But the lie is breaking now. The truth is emerging. You are capable of everything they said you weren't. And the only way to fully destroy their programming is to become it, to embody the success they told you was impossible, to live the life they said you didn't deserve. That's not arrogance. That's justice. You're taking back what they stole. You're reclaiming what was always yours, your potential, your future, your worth. And when you do, when you become undeniable, they won't be able to explain it away. They won't be able to say you got lucky or you changed. They'll have to face the truth that they were wrong, that you were always capable, that the only thing holding you back was the lie they made you believe. Step 4. Let success be your statement. You don't need to confront them. You don't need to send the message telling them how wrong they were. You don't need to show up at their door with your success. You don't need to say a word, because success is the loudest statement you can make. Living well is the most powerful revenge. When they see you thriving, they'll know. When they see you confident, they'll know. When they see you happy, they'll know. They made a mistake. They underestimated you. They lost something they'll never get back. And that realization will eat at them more than any words you could say. Because words they can argue with, words they can dismiss, words they can twist. But your success, they can't argue with that. They can't dismiss the evidence of their eyes. They can't twist the reality of what you've become. And it will destroy them quietly, slowly from the inside. Not because you're trying to hurt them, but because the truth hurts. The truth that they were wrong, that you were always worthy, that their opinion never mattered. That truth will haunt them, and you won't have to say a word. Your life will say it all. This is why you build in secret. This is why you don't announce your moves. Because the reveal is everything. They're expecting you to stay broken, to stay small, to stay the person they convinced you to be. And when you show up different, when you show up powerful, it shatters their entire narrative. It forces them to question everything they believed about you, about themselves, about what they did. And that questioning is your revenge. Not loud, not dramatic, just inevitable. They'll see you and they'll know, and that knowing will follow them forever. While you'll be too busy living to care. What real power? Looks like real power isn't revenge. It's indifference. It's getting to a place where they don't matter anymore, where what they think doesn't affect you, where their existence is irrelevant to your peace. That's the ultimate goal. Not to make them regret, but to make them irrelevant. Because right now they still have power over you. They still occupy space in your mind. They still influence your decisions. And that needs to end. You need to reach a point where you can see them and feel nothing. Where you can hear their name and not flinch, where their opinion carries no weight. That's freedom. That's power. And you get there by building a life so full that there's no room for them in it. A life filled with people who see your worth, opportunities that prove your value, success that validates your effort. A life so good that the past becomes irrelevant. Because when you're living well, you don't think about the people who hurt you. You don't replay what they did. You don't wish things were different. You're too busy being grateful for what is. That's the shift. From bitterness to gratitude. From revenge to indifference. From broken to whole. And when you reach that place, when you're truly free, that's when they lose all power. Not because you took it from them, but because you stopped giving it to them. You stopped needing their apology, stopped wanting their validation, stopped caring what they think. You became complete without them. And that completion is the greatest revenge, because they wanted you dependent. They wanted you broken. They wanted you to need them. And instead, you became whole on your own. You proved that everything they gave you, you didn't actually need. That everything they took from you, you could rebuild better. That you were never worthless. You were just undervalued. And now you know your worth. You've proven it, you've claimed it, and they can never take that from you again. The final revenge. So here's how you make them regret it. You don't. You don't waste energy trying to make them feel anything. You don't craft the perfect comeback. You don't wait for karma to catch up to them. You let them go. Completely, totally, forever. And you focus every ounce of energy on building the most incredible version of yourself. You become so focused on your growth that you forget to hate them. So busy with your success that you forget to think about them. So full of joy that you forget to seek revenge. And that forgetting, that's the revenge. Because they wanted to break you. They wanted to define you. They wanted to limit you. And instead you used what they did as fuel, as motivation, as proof that you're stronger than they ever imagined. You took their worst and turned it into your best. You took their poison and transformed it into medicine. You took their curse and made it your blessing. That's alchemy. That's power. That's revenge. Not making them sorry, making yourself unstoppable. Not proving them wrong, proving yourself right. Not getting even, getting better. Because years from now, when you look back at this moment, you won't remember their names. You won't remember what they said. You won't remember the pain. You'll only remember that you rose, that you refused to stay down, that you chose yourself when nobody else did, that you became everything they said you couldn't be. And that choice, that rise, that transformation will define you more than their damage ever could. So make the choice. Stop waiting for them to regret it. Stop needing them to see it. Stop caring if they know it. Just become it. Become powerful. Become successful. Become happy. Become so undeniably incredible that their opinion becomes a joke. Become so focused on your future that their past attack becomes irrelevant. Become so complete within yourself that external validation becomes unnecessary. That's the path. That's the revenge. That's the victory. They made you feel worthless, and you're about to show the world and yourself that they were wrong. Not by telling them, by becoming proof. Living, breathing, undeniable proof that you were never the problem. They were. And while they stay stuck in their small lives, making others feel worthless to feed their egos, you'll be out here building empires and changing lives and living free. That's the difference between you and them. They destroy, you create, they diminish. You elevate, they break, you build. And in the end, that's all the revenge you'll ever need. Not because they'll see it and regret it, but because you'll see it and realize you never needed their approval in the first place. You were always worthy, always capable, always enough. They just couldn't see it. But you can, and that's all that matters. Now go prove it. They made you feel worthless, not because you are, but because they needed you to be. Now show them what happens when someone they underestimated decides to rise, not for revenge, but for truth. The truth that you were always more than they could handle.